I'm sure that looks hilarious too. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Please have a yoga strap. I've got my second wind yoga strap, colorful and beautiful as it is. And you're going to loop it up ahead of time so that you can still hold the strap without the loop. And we'll do some shoulder movements in a moment. And we'll use the strap for our king pigeon pose coming soon. I should mention that if you're interested in getting the full king pigeon practice, there was 6, I believe it was I should have looked this up before I mentioned, but I want to say it was May that we did 6 practices to king pigeon. Almost certain of that. March, April, May. It was April or May. But if you want more on it, so it says it on, if you go to theyogamat.com/live, it'll say it there, which one has king pigeon, and Hanumanasana was the other pose that we led up to. So just to recap us, this immersion, this is the final day, which is crazy. We went through a whole month of practicing. We started off with the 5 powers of consciousness, which were Chit, Ananda, Icha, Jnana, Kriya. So Chit being consciousness or awareness, Ananda, bliss, Icha, will, Jnana, knowledge, and Kriya, action. And then we moved on from Kriya to divide Kriya, action, into 5 parts of consciousness, 5 acts of consciousness, which are Srishti, creation. We talked about the power of creation. Sthiti, stasis, maintenance or preservation, which we've been working on recently. Samhara, which is dissolution or reabsorption or retraction. And then Tirodhana, which we haven't really worked with, concealment, occlusion, or forgetting. And Anugraha, which is revelation, revealing, remembering, grace. Okay, so we're still working with Sthiti. The October immersion is called The Breakthrough, and The Breakthrough is all about that revelation and concealment, the last 2 parts, the last 2 acts of consciousness. So I hope to have you on board for the October immersion. And we're going to be continuing on with Sthiti, stasis, or preservation. And this really has to do with everyone that has stepped on their mat for this month. You have done the work each day to sustain this physical body with health by getting the mind-body connection, that neurological connection from thought, brain activity, electricity moving through the system to create an action in the physical body, awakening the nervous system and the muscular system. So you have done that work on a weekly basis, 3 days a week. And what that does for you is help sustain this physical body's health. And you know it, if you step away from the physical practice for a little while, at first it might be fine, but then it starts to add up, doesn't it? Like you start to notice this, one muscle or the other muscle, then there's a body ache, and then there's this, and then there's that, and then you don't feel so, you start getting lethargic, your prana, your energy starts becoming low. So this happens for everybody if we step away from our practice for a while. And sometimes we need that to remind ourselves of, why we step onto the mat to begin with. So thank you for stepping into this immersion and continuing to practice. Hope to have you for October as well. And we get to continue practicing with one another. And all of you that signed up for that, thank you so very much. I look forward to it. We do have a week in between this practice. If you're watching this live, that is between today and October 3rd is when that immersion starts. So in that week that you're not practicing live with me, I do suggest going back to these earlier practices that we did in this immersion, because you want to get those back into your body and also learn a little bit again about, it's like one thing to hear the Tantra teachings one time, but to go back is going to help you bring it into your life practices and to remind yourself what we talked about. And we'll continue on this conversation in October with starting off with what's called Spanda, concealment and revelation. But for today, what I'd like you to do, have that strap, and if we can cultivate the mindset of revelation, which means being open to, it's how do I say this the best way? It's being open in the physical practice that you have done a lot of work, recognizing that you've done 3 days a week, you've been practicing getting into your body, getting to know these techniques, getting to know your muscular system, becoming more physically aware. Now, 3 days a week in the grand scheme of things is nothing for the longevity of our physical body. It takes a tremendous amount of time to get to know ourselves. However, there's a lot of movement that has happened inside of you. If you've been practicing with me this month, there's a lot of new neurological connections that have been made. That's just the nature of it. If you become present in your physical body and you ask of your body to take action, you become aware. Okay, and that awareness leads to what we would call a revelation in the physical form, a greater understanding of your body, a greater, an opening to the greater organization of your physical body. You've reorganized, you've reconnected to muscles that you haven't maybe activated in a while. And so what I'd like you to be open to is what possibilities are there for you. That might be today open to connecting to that posture called king pigeon within your physical body. Now, what we don't want to do is block ourselves in two ways. Either we can block ourselves by saying, oh, I could never do that pose. That's one way to block ourselves. If we block ourselves by saying, I can never do that pose, we're not open to grace or open to the possibility of revelation, which is the fifth act of consciousness that is within us and that we have the potential to tap into. And what that does is it stifles our potential growth if we say, I could never do that. And here's where that comes from. Our belief systems are always based on the past, not based on the future. Our belief systems are based on what has happened to us, not what has not happened yet. So our belief says we are not capable of that if we've never done it before. In opposition, if we've done it and we've done it a bunch of times and we can't do it today, our expectations get smashed. Our ego gets smashed because we believe what happened in the future is to be true. What happened in the past is to be true now and in the future. And so we can stifle ourselves if we base our belief systems on the past rather than just being open to what our body has to offer today. That's what I suggest. And that's one thing, we're not practicing this posture today, handstand, but that's one thing handstand has taught me, that you can never achieve a handstand and then it's forever. Handstand is something that I'll have one day and then I won't have the next day. And I've been doing handstands for 12 years. This happens with the back bend practice as well. So king pigeon, I'll share a little bit just real quick. I used to have a really, really deep back bend practice. I practiced back bends all the time. And then I over mobilized my back. And I started having some issues with some neck stuff, some shoulder stuff, because my spine had flattened out. My upper back had totally flattened out on an everyday basis instead of it being convex. That's why I brought back the arm balance practices for myself. I really started working in handstands and arm balances and getting stronger in the upper body to strengthen my core muscles and to get my curvature back. Then what happened was I went in the other direction. I got really strong in the front body and started having low back pain because my abdominals were too tight and my low back didn't have enough range of motion in the low back supposed to be in a back bend. So what happened was my back bends got really minimal. The back bends got minimal, but also I started finding discomfort. So I had to go back to back bends again, which is why you'll notice like in these immersions, I'm flip-flopping a lot back and forth. We just did three back bending classes in a row, which is the most I've done in a while. But you'll notice that I start if we did a lot of back bending, we might be doing twists or forward folds or arm balances, trying to switch it up. It's okay to have a week or whatever of one direction, but we're not spending months on one directionality of just back bends or just forward folds or just arm balances. And that's because what I've learned over the years is if you go too far in one direction, you can change your physical body, which is amazing, but you might change it for at first for the better and then maybe for the worse. So the point of that story is that what happened was I completely lost back bends, even though I could do really deep back bends in the past, in the beginning of my practice. I had gotten to a point where I got so strong in the front body that I couldn't do back bends anymore, and it was causing pain now again. And that's part of the process of asana, is constantly understanding the spectrum of possibility and seeking to find balance in this physical form. Now, it's just like anything else. You will make mistakes along the path. You'll go too far in one direction, too far in another direction, too far this way, too far that way. Oh, just right. Oh, just right. Oh, too far again. And it's not necessarily a path like this, but a big circle, and there's that midpoint in between, and you're kind of working your body and your patterns throughout this whole circle. And it's a constant, I think, until the rest of our life, for the rest of our life, a constant looking for that center. And we hit it for a few days, maybe we hit it for a week or whatever. And now the point is, if you base your expectations for today on the past, you've already missed the opportunity for growth and expansion. If you base so if I base my my back bends, I'm talking about a few years ago, on what I could do a while back, then my expectations would shatter, my ego would shatter. I'd be like, you know what, I can't do yoga anymore. Because at that time I got really tight. So instead I embraced the path. I knew that I could get back to back bends. I knew I could get back to mobilization, but I didn't want to get there in a way that was going to be detrimental. So I would go a little bit and then do my core work, and then I'd go a little bit and then do the front body arm balances and the handstands and everything, and then go a little bit. And so what I invite you to do is to be open to what is possible today, not based on what you could do in the past when you were younger, or even if, when you were younger or in the past, you couldn't do much. Don't base it on that anyway. Base it on right now. That's where the revelations can happen. That's where the openings can happen, when you're feeling your body. And at the same time, expectations don't get shattered if you're listening to what you're capable of right now instead of what you think you should be capable of based on the past. Okay, so revelatory power. This is one of the acts that we have within us, because consciousness has that ability to reveal something. So something could be revealed in this practice. It might be king pigeon pose. It might be something about your shoulders. It might be something about your buttocks. It might be something about your back. It might be something about the way that you breathe. Revelation, or grace as it's called in this tradition, is possible in any moment. But the thing that holds us back is our belief systems from the past. It's our expectations from the past and not being here right now. So the practice today is to be open to that revelation. And this will also be the practice through October, to be open to the revelation by tapping into this moment right now, by feeling this body. So today, let's connect to our body. Without further ado, grab your yoga strap, and we got to get started connecting to our shoulders. So let's first get some strengtheners in here. So you're gonna take your strap. I'll get a little bit closer to you, and I'm having trouble grabbing it for whatever reason. And you'll pull it tight, and the hands should be wider than your elbows. Okay, we've done this a few times. We're gonna warm up the rotator cuff muscles, specifically the external rotators. So let one side win, and then let the other side win. Not without resistance. So it's not making, I'm not doing this. This is easy, right? I'm making it hard on myself to win, but one side is winning. This is going to rotate, strengthen the rotator cuff muscles right behind the shoulder. You're going to feel them kind of right where the shoulder meets the tricep back there, behind the armpit, I guess would be a way of saying it. One of the muscles is called the infraspinatus, big old muscle that strengthens when we do this exercise. Yes, should be tiring enough. Okay, release that. Take the strap, lift the shoulders up as high as you can and get them warmed up. Little side bend over to the side, pull the strap apart, little side bend over the other side, come back to center, and now bend the elbows and straighten the elbows. Warm up the shoulders, bend, and straight. Show you from the back side. I'm pulling the strap apart the whole time. And we're moving the shoulder blades on the back, moving through range of motion at the glenohumeral joint. All right. Let's go to the wall. We'll do that exercise that we did, I think it was last Saturday. I hated it, and that means it's good. So you stand at the wall, you do your half cactus. I know my wife is outside practicing with me. You can do it at the shed, my love. Okay, so the left arm, well, actually you can mirror me. Right arm, palm on the wall. Elbow tries to go shoulder height. And then we press the palm into the wall. We press the back of the other hand into the wall. And you're trying to internally rotate on this arm. That's going to strengthen this muscle called the subscapularis underneath there. And then you're trying to externally rotate this arm. That means the back of the hand tries to push into the wall. That's going to be still that infraspinatus muscle. So opposite hands are strengthening opposite sides of the rotator cuff muscles. These muscles help to keep your shoulder in the socket, which is super important, especially when you're doing things like yoga, where you start stretching these muscles. It could easily destabilize. This is called the glenohumeral joint. We definitely don't want that. Okay, so switch it up. Push the back of the top hand. I feel like this is a little far away right now, so I'm going to bring you a little bit closer. Back of the top hand, palm of the bottom hand into the wall, trying to do that rotation in the socket. Okay, stabilizing the glenohumeral joint here by activating opposing rotator cuff muscles in this exercise. Pressing the back of the hand into the wall. You can even pull the elbow slightly off the wall. And then this palm of the hand on the wall. Switch it up. Warming up these muscles here, because we'll be going through the range of motion for our final king pigeon pose today. And the beautiful thing about Revelation and the whole conversation we had earlier, switch it up again, is that when you're doing these, even if you don't get king pigeon pose, if you're strengthening your rotator cuff muscles and you're developing health of the muscular system, that is the revelation to become more awake. Now let's go both hands into external rotation. Press the hands into the wall. Now move the elbows slightly off the wall. Shoulders on the wall, hands on the wall. Elbows can move slightly off the wall. Head back onto the wall. Now switch. Internal rotation. Press the hands into the wall. All right, and oh, wow, okay, release. Step onto the yoga mat. Let me move you back again a little bit, camera. Sorry for the shakiness. All right, come to downward facing dog, and when you come to downward dog, like you're holding two jars, you're gonna dial outward with your hands to warm up the external rotator. So like you're turning your hands outward, shoulders towards the ears as always, in down dog. And grip your fingers into the ground. Let's do 2 more breaths here. All right, come forward to plank pose, inhale. Warming up the core muscles, pull your hands and feet toward each other, round the back, and grip your fingers into the ground. Push the ground away so your upper back becomes full, warming up the serratus anterior muscles, the shoulder muscles that attach to the shoulder blades to the rib cage.
We got an intense practice today, and we're going to move through things a little bit fast, but we want to kind of get the express strengtheners in so that we can really develop range of motion. Release the knees to the ground, child's pose, and walk your hands over to the left. Stretch the right waistline and right rib cage. Take a full breath into the right side. Okay, and walk hands over to the other side. Stretching entirely through the left ribs. And back to center. Come forward to all fours, hands and knees. Arch the back. Exhale, hips up and back, down dog. Please take the right leg to the sky on the inhale. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Full breath into your right rib cage, inhale. Exhale it out. Straight leg, inhale, square hip. Step forward as you exhale. Come up onto the fingertips and let's get warmed up in the legs. Pull your feet toward each other. Full breath into the back body. Exhale it out. Press your right heel down into the ground. Get stronger in the legs, lighter in the fingers, lengthen through the top of the head. One more, full breath in. Exhale, down dog. Forward to plank pose, inhale. Lean forward, lower, chaturanga. Lift the heart up, let's find your back muscles. Exhale, release. 2 more. Exhale. 1 more. Exhale. All fours, hands and knees. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Left side up to the sky on the in-breath. Bend the knee, open up your hip. 1 breath in. And out. Inhale, straighten the leg. Step forward. Come up onto your fingertips and take a breath. Gather strength in your legs, pull your feet toward each other, and start to, as you're gathering strength and you get lighter in your hands, stronger in the legs, start to feeling sensation is in the present moment. And when you listen to your body as it is now, that ultimately is the magnificent opening. That is the revelation. To feel that the body is alive and it's pulsing with energy. And from there, the body can unfold into different shapes. Take 1 more breath. Step back, down dog. Forward plank, inhale. Chaturanga. This time, interlace the hands behind the back, feet wide. Use your back muscles. Lift the heart up, shoulder blades toward each other. Let's do 2 more breaths. Inhale, lift up a little higher. Exhale, soften a bit. 1 more time. Inhale, lift up a little taller. Exhale, release. All fours, hands and knees. Exhale, down dog. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Step forward as you exhale, back knee comes down. Point the back foot. Press the top of the back foot down, lifting the back knee off the ground. We'll warm up the quads. Let's take a full breath in. And exhale it out. Again, inhale slowly, keep the back knee engaged. That means the quads engaged, is what I meant to say. One more breath. Back quads active, knee straight. Hips up a little higher. Exhale, release. Press the top of the back foot down. Pull the back knee towards the front heel and rise up. Pause. Take your hands to your hips. Lift your shoulders up and back. Squeeze the shoulder blades and elbows toward each other in the back side. Now, see if you can lift your belly up and your heart up a little higher. Stretch the abdomen as long as it goes. You can actually, you know what, take your hands on your belly, cinch it inward, and then pull it upward. This is the action that there's a deep muscle called transverse abdominals would do, okay? It does the same thing. It pulls the belly and the back inward and upward. Then, if you can do that, then your range of motion will increase because your diaphragm will be pushing outward into your ribs. So we have to now breathe kind of underneath the armpits here and the sides of the body. So you can breathe outward, like press your ribs out as you breathe. Let's do one more breath. Inhale, lift the belly, lift the heart. Exhale, release. Inhale, plank pose. Lean forward, chaturanga. Slide fingertips round the back. Feet a little wider. Exhale, soften. Inhale, pull the heart forward and up. Exhale, release. All fours, hands and knees. Exhale, down dog. Left leg to the sky, inhale. Step forward as you exhale. Place the back knee down, point the foot. Take a breath in. Press the top of the back foot down and activate the quads. Okay, we're warming up the quads. I'll do a lot of that today because we got to stretch the quads for King Pigeon. If you were in the last couple of practices, you know that the quad stretches are quite intense, and it makes it very hard if the quads are super tight for us to be able to bend the knee in a back bend. So activating the quads so we can warm them up. Even pull your back foot towards your front foot while activating the back quads. Let's take one more breath in. Exhale, release. Okay, pull your two knees toward each other. Your hips should lift slightly. And then come on up. Transverse engagement, lift the belly up. Lift the ribs up. Let's go thumbs under armpits. Even pull the skin underneath your armpits by your serratus anterior here. Lift it upward. Okay, so your shoulders rise and you feel like you're almost like a puppet getting pulled up by its strings, getting taller. Now press the top of the back foot down into the ground. That will activate your back quads, and it'll also stop you from falling back, okay? So keep the top of the back foot pressing down, even like as if you could lift your back knee up, okay? Now press the heart up to the sky. Imagine there's a string on your heart, pulling on your heartstrings up to the sky. Let's take a full breath in and out. Press the top of the back foot into the ground. One more breath. Lift the belly, lift the heart. Exhale, release. Plank pose. Inhale. Chaturanga. Okay, let's interlace the hands. Other pinky on the outside, so whatever that is for you. Non-dominant grip. I like to do bent elbows to start. Shoulders towards the ears and back behind you. Then reach the hands back towards the back of your mat. Lift your feet up this time and lift the heart up. Shalavasana. Any amount. Inhale. Soften. Can you straighten your knee joints by activating your quads? Inhale, lift a little higher. Soften. One more time. Inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, release. All fours, hands and knees. Tuck the toes, exhale, down dog. Full breath in your down dog. Full breath out. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Lift the heels up, walk, step or hop to the front of the mat. Take an inhale, halfway lift when you get there. Exhale, bow. Inhale, half lift again. Exhale, bow. One more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. To the sun, rise up. Urdhva Hastasana, inhale. To the heart as you exhale. Let me see the frame. Are we okay here? Good, close enough. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sun. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow to the earth. Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway lift on the inhale. Left foot steps back as you exhale, knee down. Point the back foot, press the top of the back foot down. Inhale, rise up. Anjaneyasana, hook your thumbs, bend the elbows, and pull your shoulder blades toward each other in the back. Press your rib cage and heart forward, and then reach your hands back. Press the top of the back foot down, pull your back knee forward a little bit, lift the belly up, take the hands back, look up. Exhale, release. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Slide the hands wide, round the back. Inhale, feet a little wide. Exhale, soften the heart forward in front of the shoulders. Pull your heart forward and up on the inhale. Exhale, release. All fours, hands and knees. Inhale. Tuck your toes. Exhale, down dog. Now we're moving a little bit fast in order to get the body's temperature rising. So see if you can keep your breath steady. Keep the mind calm and cool by breathing and feeling the sensations of the body. Try not to get wrapped up in all the movement of your physical form, but rather ride the wave of the movement of energy pulsing through your system. Let the heat rise in your body as a joyous expression of consciousness within us, currently in the form of energy or heat, muscle engagement. Lift the heels up, look forward. Empty it out, hop or step to the front. Halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale and bow. To the sunrise, inhale. Right to the earth, slow and steady, exhale. Halfway lift, inhale. Step the right foot back. Back knee comes down. Point the back foot. Inhale, rise up. Hook the thumbs. Maybe other hand behind, so other thumb behind now. Pull the, try to pull apart with your thumbs. Pull apart so your shoulder muscles activate. And you should feel like your shoulder blades kind of connect as a result. Press the top of the back foot down and pull your back knee towards the front knee so your hips lift a little bit. Then suck your abdominals up to the heart and reach back behind you. Lean forward with your heart. Lift up through the belly. Inhale, lift. Reach back with the hands. Soften, lean forward. Press the top of the back foot down. Pull the back knee forward. Last one, lift the heart up. Reach back. Exhale, lean forward with the chest. Hands to the ground. Inhale, plank pose. Chaturanga, exhale. Slide the hands wide, fingertips round the back. Soften as you exhale. Now, here's how we can see if the quads are warmed up. Bend your knees any degree. I would suggest flexing the toes so you don't cramp your hamstrings. Okay, so it might be just a little bit that you get up off the ground. And if you feel your low back starts to compress, press your heart forward so you're not pushing into your, into your hips, but softening forward so that you don't compress the low back. Okay, then you try to use your hamstrings to pull your heel towards your bum, and this will tell you how open the quads are or not, okay?
And then release, soften all the way down.
So we want to keep activating those quadriceps so that we can develop flexibility with them. Inhale to all fours. Exhale back in a down dog. In your down dog, lift your heels up, bend your knees, and wag your tail to the right. Toes will face left, heels will face right. Now lengthen, you can even come out to the fingertips of the left arm, walk the left hand forward, and breathe into the whole left waistline all the way through the armpit. I even lift the armpit upward. Okay, that should give a nice stretch. And then we do the other side. Bend the knees, stick your bum back, crawl the right hand forward, keep the right armpit lifted. Breathing into the right waistline, breathing into the right rib cage and all the way under the armpit. Come back to center. This time come forward to plank pose. Chaturanga. Just one breath for cobra or up dog. Inhale. Feet a little wide. Exhale, down dog. Let's take a full breath in. Exhale it out. Inhale. Exhale. Lift the heels up, look forward, inhale. Empty the breath, hop or step. Half lift, inhale. Exhale and bow. To the sun, rise, Urdhva Hastasana. To the heart. Rise up, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. To the earth, bow. Half lift, inhale. Step or hop, chaturanga. One breath, cobra or up dog, inhale. Exhale, down dog. Right leg to the sky on the in-breath. Step forward as you exhale. This time, high lunge. Inhale, rise up. Bend the elbows, cactus arms. Pause. Okay. Now, let's lean forward a little bit towards the front foot and press the front heel down so you feel your front buttock muscle activate. Now, spin the back thigh in and press the inner back thigh bone up to the sky to activate the quads and the back leg. Okay, so front buttocks, back quads active. Now, press your heart and ribs forward and up. You can use your hands alongside your rib cage as a little self-adjust to lift up, lift up, lift up. Now, keep the chest forward. If you start leaning back, you're going to feel compression in the low back. So lean forward and then take your hands in this cactus-like shape. Let your arms be behind you. Arms and head can start to go back. Heart stays forward and up. Okay, then reach the hands back behind you, palms to the sky for today. Lift the hips up, lift the chest up. Exhale, open, warrior two. You can stay in a back bend to start. Once you transition your feet, release the back bend. Let's hang here for a moment. Groins back, start to stretch the inner thighs. Press the front heel down. And now let's warm up the shoulders. Inhale, internally rotate the arm bones in the shoulder socket. Exhale, do the opposite. Externally rotate the arm bones. Inhale, internally rotate. Exhale, externally rotate. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do two more. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. This time you're going to place your back knee down. Heel toe the front foot to the right. Turn the toes out. And we start to initiate the left shoulder externally rotating. Whoop. Right hand behind the head. Curl the heart back. So, in this class, we're going to add on all the different key elements that we learned pretty much this entire immersion, working through them all in one class so that we can add them up to king pigeon. Okay, so pull your knees toward each other and then bend the back knee. Curl the heart back and see if you can grab your foot. If you can't, use a strap around your foot and see if you can grab it that way, okay? Now the key idea here is to activate the quads. So press your foot back into your hand. When you do that, see if you can press your chest forward in opposition. So press your chest to the front of the mat, foot back into the hand. 2 more breaths. Yes, the sensations might be intense, but sensation is what keeps us present in the moment and connected to our physical body. Revelation can only happen in that presence. The opening, the awakening, all of it happens right here, right now. Can't happen behind us, can't happen in front of us. It can only happen right here. And then release. All right, so lift the back knee up, heel toe the feet to be crisscross, so we start to awaken the hip joints. Inhale, half lift. Exhale and bow. Let's enjoy a breath in and a breath out. One more full breath in and full breath out. All right, take the hands to the ground, bend the knee, step back, down dog. Let's hold here for a breath to feel the right hip versus the left hip. Acknowledge what you've created from your practice, from your efforts. Take the left leg to the sky in the inhale. Step forward. Push down, rise, high lunge. Okay, pause. Hands to the ribs for a moment. Lean forward to your front foot more, but press the back knee to the sky. So really active. And hips up. The more you sink downward, the harder it is to take a back bend. You'll feel compressive in your spine. The more you lift upward, the more you rise, the more space you'll give yourself to lengthen the abdominals, lengthen the psoas inside, pull your rib cage up. You'll feel much more comfortable up here in a back bend. Okay, press the heart forward. Strong legs. Now take your arms cactus shape, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Create that retraction. Now reach the arms back behind you, palms face up. Press the heart to the sky. Full breath in, lift up high. Keep the back bend slowly as you lean forward. Transition warrior 2. Palms out to the side. Now we'll do something different. Bend the elbows like the goalpost arms or cactus shapes. And on the inhale, round your back, protract your shoulder blades. Exhale, open it up, shoulder blades together, heart forward. Inhale, round the back, protract your shoulder blades, elbows together. Exhale, shoulder blades together, retract the scapula. Inhale, warming up the shoulder blades a little bit more, the muscles that surround them. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do one more. Why not? Exhale. Palms out to the side, flip through palm, reverse warrior. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Setting up for a twisted monkey. Left foot goes to the left, right hand to the right. And take a moment. Hopefully you're starting to feel that internal heat rise. Pull the knees toward each other, lift the hips up a little bit, and bend the back knee. This top shoulder retracts. Grab the foot. Again, if you can't grab the foot, just grab the straps, no problem. And then kick your foot back into your hand to activate the quads. Now, when you do that, you're going to feel that your torso goes back too, and that's where the low back will start to compress. So you're going to press your heart, solar plexus forward against the kick of the foot into the hand, okay? So those are opposing actions. You kick the foot back, but you press your chest forward. The shoulder goes back, but the heart goes forward. Now that's going to be a big stretch of the pectoral muscles as well. One more breath here. Okay, and release. Let's do our cross-legged outer hip and buttock and hamstring stretch. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale and bow. Hold here, breathe into the sides of the body and the back of the heart. Two more breaths. All right. Stepping back to down dog, and let's observe now the left hip. Feel the flow of energy that moves through it. Lift the heels up on the inhale, look forward. Empty the breath out, hopper step. Halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale and bow. All right, grab your strap that's nearby. Make sure it's looped about outer shoulder width apart, okay? You can have the strap, it's not gonna matter at first, but you can have it in your wrist so that when we get to it. Feet hip width apart. Bend your knees, sit a little lower. Now move your knees back, your hips back, and push your heels out so that your outer hips engage as you sit low. Okay, now forming an arch in the back. So stick your bum up, lift your heart up in opposition. Now take the strap, bend your elbows to start, and pull the strap apart like so as you bring the arms overhead. So keeping the elbows bent, pull the strap apart as you come up and over, okay? Now sit a little lower, keep the arch in your back. Find those transverse abdominals. So instead of the belly kind of pooching out in front, lift the belly up so your heart expands out. Now pull the strap apart. As you do, try to reach the arms back behind you, starting to straighten them at that point. So we start to warm up the shoulders, pulling the strap apart. Now this is easy for you. You turn your palms toward each other, and that will create a little more external rotation in the arms, making it a bit harder. One more breath. And stand. All right, so now we're gonna take the strap behind us and loop the strap with our hands here. Stand more towards the center of your yoga mat and see if you can pull the strap apart and bring the hands back behind you. Start in chair pose. Lift the arms up. That'll strengthen your rear deltoids, the muscles of the back body, and you're gonna lift the left leg back and behind you. Warrior 3 with the bent knee, or Dekasana, I guess it's more like. Pulling the strap apart, lifting the arms up high. Lift the heart up so you're in a back bend. Lift the back leg up. Warming up the back muscles. Obviously warming and stretching the shoulders. Keep the back leg high, keep the heart up high. And come back. Bring the strap in front of you. Back into chair pose, bend the knees, push the heels out. I'm all looped up back there, okay. Pull the strap apart. Stick your bum back, push your heels out, lift your belly and heart up, pull the strap apart, bring the arms up overhead. I suggest bending the elbows to start. That'll be a lot easier for most of you, and you still pull the strap apart. You can keep the elbows bent the whole time. Might be more accessible, okay? But eventually you reach the arms back with the heart forward. I'm gonna show you from the side angle of what that looks like. Probably looks like freaky. And of course, if your strap is too narrow, this is going to be very hard. My strap is wider than my own shoulder width apart for sure. Okay, and then release. So you can see, yeah, it's significantly wider than my shoulders. Okay, now let's do the other side of our Dekasana. Pull the strap apart behind you. Switch it up. Hold on, feeling a little pull of my microphone wire. Pull the strap apart. And now we sit down, move the right leg back behind us, or that's the other leg for me, hopefully for you as well. Lift the heart up, lift the leg up, warming the low back muscles. And also when I'm in this position, what I'm trying to do, not only am I lifting the strap up, but I'm also pressing my left heel down to activate the glute muscles, lifting the right heel up, lifting the heart up. Try to stay present, stay with the sensations, though they may be challenging sensations, ones that perhaps are less pleasant because you're having to activate your muscles. You're having to work hard, sustain this posture. Sthiti is the word for sustenance, the sustaining of the experience, the effort that we put forth in the longevity. And come on up. Hallelujah. Whew. All right. Almost there, folks. Grab the strap wider than the loop is, so I'm going a little bit wider than that. Take the arms. Let me just make sure you can see me. My video is a little delayed. Okay, you can see me. Cool. Pull the strap apart, pull it back, and go all the way up and around. And then if it's too hard and you're doing this like wonky shoulder thing, then you can go wider with your strap, okay? The wider, the easier. And when your arms go up, let your shoulders go up. When your arms go down, let them come down, okay? So that you're not inhibiting the range of motion. You want to move them according to what's happening. All right, I think the shoulders are probably pretty warm now. Let's get a thigh stretch in officially. Excuse me. All right, bring your yoga mat to the wall so you have something underneath your knee. Vertical is fine. I'm gonna save time. Put my knee directly on the ground because I don't mind. You put the foot on the wall and come on up. So hopefully you can see, I'm gonna move a little bit so you can see the foot is on the wall. Right, don't do what I did, but right next to your hip behind you. Okay, your front foot pushes you back towards the wall to increase the stretch, and that'll be your butt and quads of your front leg will start to activate. Rotate the arms out, open the collarbones, and see if you can lean back. You may not be able to, you might have to stay forward like this or hands on even the ground or blocks, and that's totally normal and okay, so don't worry about that. Just be where you can be. And see if you can breathe. And feel the sensations of breath moving through your body. Open to the revelation means open to what is happening right now. The revelation itself is the remembrance that we are an infinite part of this universe, that we are a small piece of a much bigger puzzle. That's the ultimate revelation. And in that revelation that we are nothing but energy pulsing with other forms of energy. In that revelation that we are a part of this universal consciousness, then yes, small little awarenesses come through, whether it's through a muscle, through a posture, or whatever it might be in our daily life. And we call those revelations. Come on out slowly. Should be enough. Switch sides. So again, if your hands are on your front knee, that's fine. You can, there's all different variations you can do.
you might want to explore what those other options are, like cactus arms, arms up. You could do rounding of the back. It's going to kind of get different parts of the psoas. You can arch the back. But ultimately, it's about being in the posture without straining anything, of course, not injuring yourself, but feeling the sensations, intense as they may be, but open up to the magnificence of this body, even in the intensity, even amongst the moments and the challenges, the highs and lows of life. We try our best, and it is hard, isn't it, to be open to the revelation that we are an infinite part of this universe, that there is a bigger working, a bigger patterning, a bigger energy that we are a part of. And then when we can tune into that bigger source of consciousness that flows inside of us, the small challenges, the little troubles get smaller. They don't go away. They're still there. They're still hard to deal with, but we open up to the magnificence of the bigger picture. We can gain perspective. And in that perspective, we can certainly change our mindset, release. All right. Come onto your belly. Feet outer hip width or a little bit wider than hips. Let's say mat width apart. Bend your knees. Flex your feet first and try to pull your heels to your bum. If you feel compression at that point, first, like in your low back, first thing to do is press your pelvis directly into the earth. Next thing is to actually pull your rib cage further away from your hips. Okay? Press your pelvis down and pull your rib cage further from your hips. Now, what might be happening is there's a muscle called the rectus femoris. It's a quadricep. When you bend your knees, it could be overly tipping your pelvis into an anterior tilt, overly arching. So if you press your pubic bone down, it'll keep it neutral. Force that muscle to stretch. Okay, now one at a time, grab your feet. If you can, you grab the outer foot like I have here. You can look. And then you walk, you can point your foot at this point. You can walk your hand over your toes so your thumb faces up. And just look at me for one moment. I always have to show this. A lot of people do the opposite. They roll the shoulder inward first and try to grab the foot like this, and they won't get very far. Okay? So you got to go first the outer foot, and then over so your thumbs face up and your chest opens up. It'll be harder to do that, more than likely, but more accessible. Okay? So once you get both hands on your feet, then start to activate your glute muscles by lifting your knees up, and then activate your quads by kicking your feet back. Lift the heart up, soften, just a small bow, okay? I like to turn the thighs in as I kick the feet back and up. Soften, kick the feet back and up. Soften, feet back and up. Inhale and release. Okay, so small. It's the part of the thing with back bends is oftentimes we push too hard too soon and we don't pulse with the natural rhythm of our breath. Let the inhales expand you, the exhales, you soften and you make it smaller. You make it bigger on the inhales. Just like your body moves, when you inhale, your rib cage expands, the body expands to make space. The exhale, the body shrinks, it gets smaller. I want to follow that with our bow pose, Dhanurasana. Bend your knees. Let's try round 2. Again, pull your ribs away from your hips, anchor the pelvis down, reach back for the feet. And here we go. Kick the feet back, knees up, heart up, soften. Soften. You can wiggle if you need to. Get your ribs further away from the hips. Soften. Use your inhales to grow and expand the posture by kicking your feet back and up, activating the quads. Soften. And release.
Take a rest. All right, so we have one more bow pose. Button in my pants is all right on my bone. All right, so press the pelvis into the ground, reach back, grab your feet. Kick your feet back, lift up, and soften. Expand. Soften. Kick your feet back, knees up. Soften. 2 more breaths. Last one. And release. All right, take your right arm to the right like a T. Roll to your right side and stretch the pectoral muscles on the right side. Should be fairly open, hopefully, at this point in time after doing those bow poses and the shoulder stretches. But just in case, get a little bit more of a stretch. Switch sides. Come back to center. All right, come to all fours. Hips just like right up over the knees, and we'll take the hands farther out in front. Now, the key here is to lift the armpits up as you relax the the heart down. Armpits lift up. Now, I like to go on fingertips, hands a little wide, but keep the armpits lifted. Now, instead of the forehead going to the ground, you could always go a little further forward and press your heart to the ground to Anahata Asana. Crawl your hands back. Make your way back up. All right, here we go. You want to have that strap in a looped formation. So nice. Most people even wider than this, depending on how, by this point, if your quads are feeling super tight, you want to go wider, a bigger loop, okay? I'm going to bring this down a little bit since we're not going to be standing up anymore, so you can see perhaps a little bit better. Bring this here. Okay, hopefully that should be good. All right, so there are a couple of tricks, okay? One, if you put a block underneath your hip to start, you'll have greater access, okay? So I recommend that. Also, a blanket is nice. Another rolled up yoga mat is fine too. Okay, so watch me the first time, okay? So you have the block underneath your hip, make your life easy, and you set up your pigeon pose the way we've been kind of doing it. Okay, so where your hips are up, up, up. Now you can lean over to the block. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a step. You want to get this strap around your foot to begin, okay? And your hand in the strap, okay? Or at least the strap nearby so you can put your hand in it. Now watch the key points here, okay? You have to be able to, if you're leaning too far over, it's going to be very hard to lean back, but it's okay if you lean a little onto the block to start. And you grab the strap, and here's the key point. You turn your chest, but keep your heart lifted so that your elbow comes right into the nook here. You see that little, so you get really tight. Now, if you don't do that, it's very hard on the shoulder. So if you can't get tight here, well, first of all, next step will be to bend your knee. Okay, so it should keep you tight here. Now you want to bring the elbow as close to the front of the body as possible. Okay, at that point, you can then start to unfold. Now, most of you are going to be surprised at how much access you have to that. Okay, but you want to make sure you follow those steps that I showed you, because it's going to transition later on in your practice. If you don't need a strap, well, first thing you can do is tighten the strap. You know, you go tighter and tighter, and you learn how to flip the grip, as it's called, just like this. Okay. I'm going to switch sides for a moment, just for my own sake, as I'm demonstrating. So I'll lead you through in a second. Just keep watching, because you'll get a lot of information as we keep going. There's a lot more to it, of course. Usually when bending the knee, if you flex the foot, it prevents that hamstring from cramping, because it doesn't, if you point the foot, it activates the calf, and then both these muscles are cinching inward, and oftentimes that cramps the hamstring. So I usually say flex the foot. Okay, pull the elbow as tight in as possible in order to bend the elbow. And then you turn. You see how I turn the chest? This is pressing the rib cage forward. Okay. I usually don't do that until the arm is up. But now watch. I'm going to show you without the strap, because some of you are going to be there. Most of you definitely not, okay? But you know, there's different levels in this immersion, so I want to speak to everybody. You see how I flex the back foot and I grab the pinky side of the foot like so. And I just try to find a nice solid grip. I usually don't like to grab the big toe. It doesn't work for me. Then I bring the elbow in as tight as possible. Okay, this is why it helps to have really open quads so that you can bend your knee as much as possible. You see how I'm facing the back foot. This is why the block back there makes it a lot easier. Then, as you bring it in tight, I actively pull my heel towards my buttocks with my hamstrings. Then keep the arm in tight, 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 tight. And I'm doing the same thing we've been doing the whole time, retracting the scapula. We've been doing this like the whole immersion, right? Just pull your shoulder blade in towards your spine, like you're going to kiss your wrist. And then once it's overhead, you pull the ribs here forward and up. And eventually you want to get off of the block and use your buttock muscles. You see the block is no longer underneath me. Eventually, okay? You don't need to take it out. You just have to feel your hips lift up light away from it. Maybe you take the other hand. All right, so let's give it a shot with the strap. Place the strap around your left foot. Right shin is going to be forward. We use the block at first. Eventually, you'll try to lift up off of the block. Step one, lean into the block and see if you can get your hand in the strap. Step two, pull the heel towards your bum using your hamstrings and grab the strap, pull your elbow in tight. Now, try to retract the shoulder blade towards your spine and press your heart forward. The more you press your heart forward, the easier it is going to be to rotate the shoulder. The more you pull it back, the shoulder's not going to move because the shoulder blade has nowhere to go. So press your heart forward and pull your elbow in and then rotate. Now turn your heart to the front of the mat and see if maybe your other hand comes up into the strap. Gently pull on the strap, and the last step you can do here is pull your two knees toward each other and see if you can lift your hips up off of the yoga block. Okay, you might fall right back down, but then try to get back up, hips up off of the yoga block. Lift the belly, lift the heart. And then release down onto the block, release the strap, and we switch sides. All right, so your left foot forward, your right foot in the strap. Maybe this time I'll show you, most of you are using the strap, I assume. If some of you are really close, I'll show this time again so you can see how you grab the foot. But everybody use the strap. You know, all 2 or 3 of you that are not using the strap, you're going to try to grab the pinky toe side of the foot like so. Okay, grab your strap, grab the pinky toe side of the foot. You're leaning into the block. Idea here is to keep the arch in the back bend. So press your ribs forward and pull the elbow right into that little nook. Bring the elbow forward, 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 forward. Then press your right rib cage forward to the front of the yoga mat. Keeping the right rib cage forward. Now pull your 2 knees toward each other. Sometimes I use my left hand outside my hip to help me find balance to lift up. Okay, then you can grab your other, maybe your other foot with your other strap, I should say, with your hands. Chest forward, belly forward, heart up, hips up. Lean forward, come out the same way you came in. Hallelujah. Well, that's a fun practice. So that's King Pigeon Pose. And, you know, it's a lifetime of practice. It's, you know, a matter of developing flexibility of the quads, developing flexibility of the abdominals, developing shoulder flexibility. There's so much at play, right? So, you know, in the pursuit of understanding your physical body, that might unfold for you at some point in time if you open up to the possibility, okay? And then you can rewatch this video this week and try it again. I recommend kind of hitting it back at least 1 more time this week, maybe twice. And that way you can kind of catch a few things that you didn't catch. And also the lead up practices, the last 2 ones that we just did. All right, so let's do right shin across the mat. And let's do regular pigeon pose. I like to bow off to the left side. Enjoy the hip opening. And that's what this practice is all about, is just trying to let go of any sort of expectation that comes from the ego, trying to let go of belief systems that we have from our past, and tuning into this very moment right now. And in these moments is where the revelations can happen, when we're awake, when we're present, and we're just doing for the sake of doing because we can. We are taking action because it's a gift that is part of our nature as humans. It's part of consciousness itself. Rather than taking actions for results or fulfilling some emptiness, but rather just taking actions because that is part of the gift of being alive. Let's switch sides. Take a few moments to acknowledge the part of you that has stepped onto your yoga mat this month, stepped into your body develop some level of self-awareness, whether it's strengthening muscles or becoming aware of a muscle that you didn't know you had, being able to move a bone a certain way, to isometrically engage a muscle, whether you increase flexibility or you just observe that your breath is moving through you. The ultimate revelation is that we recognize and become awake to the fact that we are alive. That's the ultimate revelation. That there is consciousness pulsing through this body and consciousness pulsing through all things. That's what Tantra is trying to say, that a moment of revelation or grace is when the mind steps outside of its small world and sees the bigness that it is part of. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not actually speaking. It's not out of the book, just so we know. So we want to open and broaden our perspective to the greater expansive part of nature itself that we are. Hear my dog whining in the next room. Come on out. Lay onto your back. Oh, we have a delivery, that's why. Come into happy baby pose. Hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a loving moment of gratitude for this body and all that it's done for you and how it has supported you through this practice and many others and through your entire life. And release into Shavasana or constructive rest if you prefer, knees touch. And let your body become heavy to the earth.
Enjoy a full breath in. Breathe a little deeper, awaken the fingers and the toes. Stretch the arms overhead. Roll to your side. And come up to a seated position. Placing the hands together in front of the heart. With gratitude for this body that pulses with energy, we bow in to the consciousness within us and all around us. Thank you so very much for your efforts, for your attention. Thank you for your dedication to your practice. Namaste. Thank you everyone so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to share with you this month, and I hope to see you soon. We've got the October Immersion 200-hour online trainings coming up. We have the 300-hour online trainings. If you have any questions or you want to reach out to me for anything at all, please send me an email, theyogimat@gmail.com. Take care of yourself. Lots of love, everyone. Bye-bye.